all year long. Learn more at associatedbank.com/Packers. Member FDIC.
ESPN Milwaukee's game nights are here to remind you to attend a Doc Hound's regular season game this month. Now is the time to attend an exciting, family-friendly baseball experience in Lake Country. The Lake Country Doc Hounds play at Wisconsin Brewing Company Park in Oconomowoc, right off the interstate. Tickets start at just $10 with home games featuring Bat Dogs, Colton Kovu, in-game promotions, a kids area, and more. Go to DocHounds.com for tickets and game times. Catch Doc Hounds baseball in Lake Country, where summer nights last longer.
Hey, Greg Scalzo here. You're listening to 94.5 ESPN, WKTI, and WKTI HD Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
For your sports talk fix every day from 4 to 6, it's Scalzo and Brust. For your sports talk fix every day from 4 to 6, it's Scalzo and Brust. For your sports talk fix every day from 4 to 6, it's Scalzo and Brust. For your sports talk fix every day from 4 to 6, it's Scalzo and Brust.
Live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios at the Avenue.
Party,
this is Scalzo and Brust, presented by Bud Light.
It's a party,
on 94.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
It's a party, baby. Woo! It's a party, baby.
Happy Thursday! Welcome to the Scalzo and Brust, presented by the official beer of the NFL, Bud Light. No Ben Brust today. Should I blow up his spot, Joshy?
I don't care.
He was peeing in a Gatorade bottle right down the highway on his way to St. Louis for a little lake vacation. Your cousin sub of the day today, Brad Nortman. Brad, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on. Long-time listener, first-time joinee of the show. So look at us. I'm happy to be here.
Wildy and Tausch earlier this week. Scalzo and Brust here, loving it.
I know. I mean, y'all are. I mean, honestly, the ESPN family in here in Wisconsin is just so welcoming, so easy. Guys like you, Greg, to be on the horn with makes it easy for guys like me to fill in. So I'm thankful for that.
I like it. And I will say, one criticism from you and Wildy of Tuesday was when Ryan Wollersheim started the show as horribly as he started the show. You guys needed to rip him at that point, but I don't even know if you could have heard it.
I think we heard just the little bit end of it, maybe the last 10 seconds.
And you felt bad.
I did feel bad.
Yeah.
I did feel bad. I mean, to be in that position where you have no idea what's going to happen, and it's like, okay, and it's honestly, too, it's an uncertain amount of time that you have to fill the airspace with. I just wonder, what would if it was another 3 minutes? I mean, where would Woolley have walked down? What path was he going to go down? And I was listening to you guys yesterday, talked about maybe just bumping right back to commercial. I would have loved a take. I mean, could you imagine Woolley just going down on a fascinating, mind-blowing take? That would have been unbelievable.
Yeah, I could see it. Him just walking down that path to greatness right there.
You just need to get warmed up, right? You just need to get that out of the system.
Do we want to listen to it again, just so people know what we're talking about?
Woolley is running the show right now at the Everlight Solar Studios downtown off the Capitol Square in Madison. Woolley, you want to listen to yourself one more time?
He still can't talk to us.
Oh, perfect. Let's take one more listen to Woolley.
It is the Tuesday edition of Wildy and Tausch here from the ESPN Milwaukee Open, and Brad Nortman and Jason Woolley both on site at the Bog for the Open down at the ESPN Milwaukee Open, and they are still waiting on some of their headphones to arrive to the remote broadcasting station, and it looks like they might actually just be arriving now. So we'll be getting Brad Nortman and Jason Wildy joining live from the Bog for the ESPN Milwaukee Open in just a moment. But this is Ryan Wollersheim, your cousin.
I can't do it anymore. I love Woolley because he'll take this and he'll laugh at himself, and I'll give him a lot of credit for that. But we've all been in that spot where you're like thinking so much about what you're going to say next that you can't actually talk. And you can hear him doing that right there.
Yeah, we've all been there, which is why I do feel for my guy Woolley. Can I say this, though? I'll give Woolley some credit. He said, it's Wildy's show, and he said Brad Nortman and Jason Wildy twice.
Yep.
Twice.
Oh, I
he
noticed
said my
that.
name first. So I see you, Wooly.
And
Thanks for the shout out.
Yes. And of course, when it comes to to Wooly coming out in that spot like that, he is somebody who will, again, be able to take a punch, but at the same time, we now see sort of why he should just go right to break in that spot.
Yeah.
Wooly joins us again. He calls into the show. How have we not gotten this fixed to the point where...
It's baffling because I do Wildy and Tausch from this studio, and I'm able to control... Everything works for me in the morning. Whatever happens in the afternoon, it happens every day. I can't tell you.
Well, we all know. Ryan, why didn't Jesse Nelson get this fixed in the studio yesterday as far as getting the sound fixed back and forth?
Well, because as you can hear from Tuesday's show, Jesse just likes to leave me out to dry at the beginning. I don't know. I've been wondering why the IP Milwaukee link has been down this whole week, apparently, but that was part of why I stammered so much in the moment on Tuesday, because I couldn't communicate with Milwaukee. I couldn't communicate with Jason Wilde and Brad Norman on site. It was just full-blown panic mode, and my only take would have just been, please get me off the air as soon as possible.
Wooly, what's going to be the game plan if this happens again? What's going to be the go-to move?
Right to break, I would think. No, I don't. I would probably make sure that I don't forget my own name this time around. I would probably have that written on a note card, just in case. Otherwise, I don't know. Maybe probably make sure I hit a break a little earlier in the stammering.
Wooly, we're going to come back to you at the last segment of this show. I want a top 5 power ranking of whose fault it was while you were stammering on the radio by yourself at 9 a.m.
Okay, I can work on that over the course of the next hour and 45 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wooly. 800-990-ESPN, 800-990-3776, Twitter, at Scalzo and Brust. Now, Wooly's kind of a rookie on the air, right? And, of course, the Packers got a rookie out on the field right now. Joint practices with the Cincinnati Bengals. Some mixed reviews, and I said this yesterday, Brad. I think that we're at the point now in training camp where if you're like pro Jordan Love, everything you read and see, you're going to filter through that, and you're going to take the good and forget the bad. And if you're anti-Jordan Love, you're going to do the exact opposite, and no matter what happens here, because we're going to, in my opinion, see both good and bad, right? Young quarterback. But I was surprised to see some of the quotes from the opposing team, from some of the players on the Cincinnati Bengals talking about Jordan Love. Bengals linebacker Jermaine Pratt said, I think he's good. I thought he was solid. To be honest, I really didn't know what to expect because I was thinking of A-Rod, but I think he's solid. I think he'll be a great player, to be honest. He learned from A-Rod. Now he gets the keys to run the system. Brad, you had a lengthy NFL career. How much stock do you put into comments from like opposing players in this setting?
Well, you definitely put some stock into it, right? If I'm going to rank an honesty meter of everyone that's kind of involved in the evaluation and observations of Jordan Love, number one is media, right? Media, you might bring a little bit of your biases to it. And if you went out and on a limb and had a take on Jordan Love one way or the other, you might be doing what the fans are doing, which is kind of figuring out which evidence you'd like to believe and go from there. But media, I always think, is going to be number one. Number two is opposing coaches and opposing players. And last would be your own teammates. To touch on your own teammates, I mean, you're just going to have your guys back. That's why with everything that Aaron Jones is saying, look, I think it's great. I think he has to say that. But do I believe it 100%? No, because he has to say that about his quarterback. Because if you don't, I believe Justin Jefferson, maybe a week ago, ranked his top 5 quarterbacks, and he didn't name Kirk Cousins. And it made massive headlines. And one of those things, and the reason it didn't make massive headlines is because you just don't say that about your guy. Now, Kirk Cousins is not a top 5 quarterback, but you just say it, right? You just say it. So for me, the in-between where you can take some stock is opposing players and opposing coaches. For me, and if I was going to be asked about another player, or countless times when I've heard in the locker room guys talking about opposing teams, you have to like read the subtext, right? Every initial reaction, because there's a microphone in front of your face and there's a camera in your eyes, it's going to be some sort of version of, look, he's a good player, he's talented, a generally positive. It's the second, third, and fourth sentence that I want people to pay attention to whenever people talk about Jordan Love or whoever the player is. Because what it's going to shape is sort of where your actual foundation on that player is. By that I mean everyone's going to say, yeah, he's great. He's going to have a great career. If it's followed by a but, or it's like, but we all have a lot to grow. He's a young player. Nothing beats experience in the NFL. Something like that is given a but, or something that kind of gives them a cop-out. That means they don't really think that highly of that player. If they double down, like I'm hearing the Bengal players do it, they don't need to do that. They don't need to go into details about what their observations were or how they feel about Jordan Love. That tells me that there is actually some impressive play on the field from Jordan Love. And the question is, what does that due to? Is that due to low expectations from the Bengals players? Like, okay, this is just going to be a rookie quarterback basically, and he's going to be inaccurate and unstable. Or did they think, they actually had high expectations for him, Aaron Rodgers type expectations, maybe not that, but in the ballpark. And he actually, surpassed those expectations. So to me, I think this is just another piece of evidence for the pro Jordan Love camp. The pro Jordan Love camp.
It's a positive indicator, right? Sure. I mean, you'd rather hear that than that guy's, I don't know about that guy. He might not make it. Bengals veteran cornerback Mike Hilton also said Jordan Love has a real strong arm. Obviously, that's what he's been known for, but you can tell he's seeing things a little slower and his process is a little faster. So I feel like Green Bay got a good one. You played for the Panthers and the Jaguars. You saw a lot of quarterbacks during your day in terms of the teams you played with, joint practices and training camp. How much can you actually tell when someone is going to be like good, and how good can you tell someone's going to be at this point in terms of what you're doing in practice and training camp? I imagine, and I'll just give you my theory as somebody who's never been in an NFL locker room. I imagine there's like that first level of, this person can play. Is there something beyond, like, I'm sure you can all recognize when somebody doesn't belong, like in anything in life, but beyond that, how much can you tell how good somebody's going to be?
You can tell quickly, and not just on the practice field, and this is where maybe assistant coaches get a different view, even in like the film room. I mean, a guy like Luke Kuechly, an absolute student of the game, and he could call out plays, formations, what the team's going to do while you're sitting in there watching film, not knowing what the next play is. So he's just a combination of just utter brilliance and physical abilities and love of the game. But to answer your question, you can tell pretty quickly. I mean, in the NFL, you cannot fake it. I mean, you can kind of fake it. I mean, all the way through high school football at that kind of physical level, and even college football. I mean, you might go against an NFL caliber player opposing you twice a year, maybe. Man, in the NFL, you can't fake it. You get exposed super quickly. Now, there is a spectrum, because the guys that can't play, right away, you're like, we made a mistake, get him out of here, no chance. There is a spectrum of good to great. Great shows up immediately. And then there's a spectrum of good. My whole hesitation was, generally speaking, everyone's getting more specialized, more training. If you're a quarterback nowadays, you've likely taken 10,000 throws, something like that throughout, because you're just specializing earlier and more exposure and more big times. So when Jordan Love showed up and he wasn't showing that and there was concern, I could see how there was like, oh my gosh, we make a huge mistake. Maybe he's a late bloomer. I know we're going to get into that a little bit more later in the show, but you can tell right away. And at this point, in Jordan Love's fourth year in his career, and this far into training camp, I feel like the Packers know. And what that is exactly, we don't know, but I feel like they know.
800-990-ESPN, 800-990-3776. What exactly do they know? We will certainly find out. Packers start their preseason tomorrow night, taking on the Bengals. We got 2 preseason games tonight, Joshy. So we do have some preseason football going on tonight in the NFL. Dave from Aaron says, gotta love what the corner that picked Love said about him. That was Mike Hilton there. Justin from Milwaukee says, Hilton's comments overall are good, but did he think he was talking about a second-year quarterback? Not sure how much that matters. Look, I think no matter what, who cares how far along Jordan Love is as far as like in his career, what age he is. He entered the league at 21. You've got some quarterbacks that enter at 24. Heck, Stetson Bennett's like 26 years old. He's a rookie. So I think any positivity you can get out of this, any positive indicators, ultimately is going to be a good thing for the Green Bay Packers. We'll keep the Packers talk going with Brad Norman coming up next. It's Scalzo and Brust. We're presented by the official beer of the NFL, Bud Light.
You're listening to Bud Light, Scalzo, and Brust.
We need to move on because it's very difficult to like you.
Subscribe to the Scalzo and Brust podcast free on the Wisconsin On Demand app and wherever you get your podcasts.
From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Jessica Gatso on 94.5 ESPN. Still looking at the usual slowdowns around the Zoo Interchange this afternoon. Right now, I-94 eastbound from Zoo Interchange to downtown is an 8-minute commute, and westbound from downtown to the Zoo Interchange looks like 10 minutes. On I-41 southbound from Highway Q to the Zoo, that's a 20-minute drive. On I-41 northbound from the Zoo Interchange to Highway Q, that's looking a little better right now. It's at a 19-minute drive. That's only a 9-minute delay right now. And on I-43 northbound from downtown to Brown Deer is 14 minutes, and southbound from Brown Deer to downtown is 22 minutes. Traffic is brought to you by Evans Transportation in Brookfield, where they provide customized logistics solutions to keep you and your business moving forward. Tonight, cloudy and humid with a low of 68. On Friday, partly cloudy and humid with showers and storms likely, a high of 85. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Jessica Gatso on 94.5 ESPN.
This is the year to buy the woman you love a big anniversary diamond.
What's a big anniversary diamond?
A big anniversary diamond is any diamond that's at least twice as big as the one in her engagement ring.
Why twice as big?
A big anniversary diamond says, I love you twice as much today as the day I married you.
People are always so happy when they see the price we can give them.
Kessler's has wonderful prices on 1 carat, carat and a half, 2 carat, and 3 carat big anniversary diamonds.
People will ask you about your big diamond everywhere you go.
So big anniversary diamonds are the hot new trend?
It began with men buying big anniversary diamonds for the women they love, but now it's gone to a whole new level.
Women are now buying big anniversary diamonds for their men.
Women are saying 2 can play that game.
I like games that 2 can play.
Everybody likes games that 2 can play.
Welcome to Kessler's.
For the location nearest you, go to KesslersDiamonds.com.
From the tee box to the green and everything golf related in between.
Same thing with Xander and Cantley. Like those 4, because you know you're just going to pair them together. Like those 4 are safe on this Ryder Cup team. They're safe in 2 years on that Ryder Cup team.
On the tee with Gabe Neitzel and Stephen Watson.
Like JT and Spieth are still your horses. Like they are still your first team out.
On the tee with Gabe and Steven, presented by Wisconsin Golf Trips. Mondays at 6 on 94.5 ESPN.
Brookfield GMC has document imaging technology from James Imaging Systems, all bundled under the James Managed Print Services Program. Brookfield GMC Controller Jay Doyle.
They can track where the printer supplies are, the toner supply is getting down or low, and then they'll ship us a new toner.
And there's more. James Imaging Systems Managed Print Services also includes parts and service.
Exactly, yes. We had a fuser go out in one of our printers, and they came out and replaced that right away. So repair and our supplies are maintained.
Managed Print Services from James Imaging Systems. All your document output devices, service, supplies, and parts wrapped up in one low monthly invoice. Now that's a good value.
It's a big value because of all the services.
Managed Print Services from James Imaging Systems. Call 262-781-7700. James Imaging Systems, your local office technology partner.
Yeah, they're football guys, but they don't shy away from the big topics of the day.
So you won't listen to their music because of this? Was it a bad breakup?
Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Also sponsored by American Family Insurance.
I don't know. You play one of their songs on
this
our
guy
show.
broke up with Florida Georgia Line. You should like him more.
I do like Tyler Hunt. Yeah, it's a good career move for him.
You're still not going to go to the concert.
Weekdays 9 to noon on 94.5 ESPN and available wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand. You're listening to Scalzo and Brust on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Bud Light and streaming live on Wisconsin On Demand.
A Grateful Dead Thursday here on Scalzo and Brust, presented by Bud Light, the official beer of the NFL. No Ben Brust, your cousin sub of the day. Brad Nortman, cousin subs we believe in better. Are you a Grateful Dead fan, Brad, or what's your music vibe?
Oh, man. Okay, I'm primarily country.
Okay.
After that, classic rock. After that, probably alternative rock. But there's a place for everything, right?
Okay.
Working out, I'll listen to some hip hop and rap. I mean, there's even a place for Grateful Dead. I think I know one of their songs. What's their song I know? The fact that I don't know it shows... Casey Jones?
Yeah,
is that a song? I like that song. That's a good song. I like that song.
Yes.
Attaboy.
We'll get that one on the mix there. Terrence, the official and unofficial Amazon driver of the Scalzo and Brust family, chimes in. Again, 800-990-3776 says, we're definitely going to see tomorrow night how good Love is, or at the very least get a feel for how far he's come. And I honestly think that the Packers are going to go as far as Love's legs take them. I think he will have at least 4 to 5 rushing touchdowns this year. I want to caution people on the Jordan Love running ability. He wasn't a big runner at Utah State. He doesn't have blow you away speed from the combine. I do think in today's NFL though, more guys are more comfortable using their legs, but I think that the Packers are going to go as far as Jordan Love's head and arm take them more so than legs.
Absolutely. In today's NFL, there's so much space, right? I mean, the field is just so spread out. It's more pass heavy. So I think in order to really maximize yourself as a quarterback, you have to be willing to run. You have to, even if you're a guy like Aaron Rodgers, you have to be willing to take 10 yards here and there. But that should be absolutely infrequently. I mean, where you're really going to cut teams up is your arm, your head, like you just said. I hope that we're not getting 4 to 5, rushing touchdowns from Love. Because I feel like, okay, who are the quarterbacks? Lamar Jackson, he's elite, right? But the quarterbacks that may be in Jordan Love's stratosphere, we're talking about Daniel Jones, Justin Fields.
Yep.
Look, they're not bad. And if Jordan Love can be that, I don't think everything was a waste. But I would even like to see them develop as a passer, Jones and Justin Fields, that is. So let's primarily focus on Jordan Love, the passer, not the runner.
I do think it's interesting, though. The Packers have shown in camp, now they are just doing camp. They don't really like to show people what they're doing. But they have run some speed option stuff, which I think is more a function of they want it to be a run to Aaron Jones. But they're using his ability to be faster than Aaron Rodgers to kind of open up different looks, which I think is valuable.
Yeah, but I also wonder how much that has to do with making him comfortable based on what he did in college, right? And I think more and more NFL teams are willing to do that and put him in a comfortable position. We heard some of the positive feedback from the Cincinnati Bengals defenders talking about how they think Green Bay's got a good one. Jordan Love's own teammate, David Bakhtiari, had this to say about the fourth-year player.
Where do you think Jordan is at this point, a couple weeks into camp?
Not Hall of Famer, first ballot.
Damn.
You saw from him today. Hall of Famer, first ballot. No, I mean, he was fine. I mean, Jordan's Jordan. What I like the most that he seemed like himself, so that's exactly what I want to see.
Brad Nortman, you've been in a lot of locker rooms. What do you take from that?
That's a big old yikes to me. I mean, rewind to the first segment. What the heck was I just talking about? How you don't say that about your teammates?
Yeah.
I was caught off guard by this. Honestly, I was. But something feels like this is his personality, a little bit of a goof. And I don't know. If it was going to come from anybody, this is who I would expect it to come from, right? Obviously, his relationship with Rodgers is well documented. And, he's put in kind of a tough spot for sure with how do you answer a question like that? But would I have loved to have heard something a bit more positive? Yes, but something tells me that's just his personality. And I mean, there are guys in the locker room, though, that will say things like that just because they're bored. They want to change things up, mess with the media. I don't know if that's exactly this, but it's not unprecedented to hear something like that. I don't love. If I was Jordan, I'd be like, dude, you're probably the leader of this offense. You're going to do me like that?
Protecting my blind side.
Yeah.
I get the sense that even based on some of the comments Bakhtiari made about this being a rebuilding year and hey, look, we just got rid of a first ballot Hall of Fame guy. It's a rebuilding year. I do have a sense that D-Bach is trying to bring a little bit of realism into the conversation. Whereas I think in his mind, I'm going to project. I'll pretend I'm David Bakhtiari here. In his mind, he's thinking, well, the expectations of Aaron to Jordan isn't a real expectation. And I think when he says Jordan's being Jordan at the end, and that's what I want to see, I get the sense that those are some direct conversations with him to Jordan of like, don't try to be Aaron. Like, you're not Aaron. Like, be Jordan. And you heard Aaron say that about Jordan in terms of what he texted Love on the precipice of training camp starting and said, hey, just be you, be Jordan Love. I wonder if that's like the message that Aaron and then obviously David, who seems like an extension, have been sending to him. And he's trying to basically say, hey, let's not get ahead of our skis. Like, this dude's just got to be this dude. I mean, Aaron Rodgers' his rookie year was good. Nobody looked at it and said, oh, this is a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Do you think that D-Bach is going through some sort of like, I won't go as far as saying checking out, but do you think there's like a level of looseness, a level of like, I've been on this team and we've been a Super Bowl contender for this long and we're taking such a big step back and I'm supposed to go out there and now put my own body and mind on the line, a bit of frustration. And I mean, what's like the light version of checking out, of like not quiet quitting, but so whenever I hear him speak, there's a bit of him that doesn't sound as engaged as he once was. And I'm not one to judge when anyone's heart or head is at, but how could you not feel like that after the run he's had and the guys he had in the locker room?
I mean, there's 4 players on this team that are 27 or older, right? I mean, they are, if not the youngest, then they're probably top 2 youngest. I know the Texans have a very young squad as well, team in the league. So, like, for a guy who is a veteran coming off a knee injury, you have to have some part of you that's like, man, you come in every year and it's Super Bowl or bust, and now this year it's like, all right, I do think the Packers would be okay losing in 23 if it means they get a lot of experience for 24. What I think is interesting is sort of the inverse of what you saw in that first episode of Hard Knocks on Tuesday night, where the players in the building for the Jets and even the coaches, like they played video in the defensive room, in the defense room, where the defensive coordinator played a video of Aaron Rodgers and goes, this guy's our quarterback. We're going to be in every game. And for the Jets, that's like a huge change, right? Because now all these guys are probably jacked up like, hey, we're in it. We can win now. And the opposite of that is going from that feel to like, yeah, we'll see what we have. And, we're talking about this team as, hey, can they win 8 games? I think that would be a good year. That has to have an effect on a competitor like David Bakhtiari.
For sure. And my goodness, the absolute slobbering over Aaron Rodgers from the Jets team was it was so much to take in on Hard Knocks. I can't wait until the first bit of adversity rolls around for that team. I cannot wait to see how Aaron responds then. I know it's in him to be a leader. I know it's in him to be positive, but he just has not shown that as a Green Bay Packer. I feel like for Bakhtiari, he's kind of in a position to do one of 2 things. He can either look at the situation where, okay, I'm the old vet, there's a bunch of young guys around me, and we're clearly not in this to win the Super Bowl, right? Those are facts. He can do one of 2 things. One of them is to say, okay, that's fine. I'm going to be a leader and a teacher, right? So I'm going to help these guys up. I'm going to mentor. I'm going to help them grow, particularly if they're looking for that, right? And they will be looking to him for that type of leadership. And man, he could do some great work helping Jordan Love, helping the offensive line. Not as far as a player coach, but you're in a great role to be a mentor. Or you can cash your paycheck. I feel like he's leaning toward the paycheck part.
Yeah. Again, we don't know what we don't know.
Right.
Now, when you've been in locker rooms, because you've been on teams that have had a lot of success, and you were on teams that didn't have a lot of success during your NFL tenure, how early do you feel that in training camp? Or is it like in training camp, hope's eternal, and if this goes right and if that goes right and if this guy does this, then anything can happen? Or there just some locker rooms where you're like, you look around and you're all looking at each other like, yeah, I don't think this is it. And does that devolve into everybody just cashing their paycheck?
Well, man, the difference between a Super Bowl expecting locker room and training camp feels much different than a, boys, if we can go be 500, this is a win. This is a good year. There is look, no matter what, they're all professionals. They all are incredibly competitive and run at a very high clip. So there's a certain level of competitiveness and juice that no matter what's going to be there. But man, it feels way, way more enjoyable when you look around and say, I'm doing this for something. I'm doing this for something that at the end of the year we have a chance for payoff, not just, hey, we're looking to make incremental improvement and, we're trying to win the Super Bowl in 3 years. And, oh, yeah, by the way, half this team won't be here then, right, with the turnover of the NFL. So it is much more enjoyable. reflective of what you're seeing in Hard Knocks, right? There's oxygen in the room. There's excitement. It makes the long practices not so hard. It makes jumping in the cold tub maybe not so cold. Everything's just slightly better when you're in a winning environment and slightly worse when you're losing.
Well, and that's where I think the first 4 games for this Packers team are going to be so important because it's such a young, impressionable team. And I do think the energy seems really positive. And I wonder if a lot of that's because many of these players have been drafted by the Packers, developed by the Packers, sort of this young core, right, that is 26 and under. But, like, when you've got all these guys that probably, we saw it. They went up to Door County. They're hanging out with each other. They're friends with each other. They're rooting for each other. They have each other's back. I think if you get off to a hot start, that builds. I do think, though, if you start 1-3 and you hit that bye week, then all of a sudden you might have some young guys looking around like, all right, what do we actually have here?
Yeah, and at that point, you're going to have to rely on built relationships amongst the young guys to kind of keep everything on the track and not get discouraged, which actually encourages me to see how this team is working together. It does seem like there's good camaraderie. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of toxicity in the room. And, I mean, that will be tested for sure. It's easy to do that now. And same thing with the New York Jets. It's easy to be positive right now, but boy, it's a long, challenging NFL season. And one way or another, you go through ups and downs, and that's where you really see the teams that respond can turn it into a successful season, learn from it, grow from it, and you got a really healthy foundation, or you just don't and it implodes. And it happens every season. Somebody's out there, and it gets ugly quickly.
Oh, we see it every year, right?
Yep.
There's a team with massive expectations that falls, and there's a team with no expectations where you're like, wait a second. Man, the Eagles are incredible. Dan Atosa chimes in and says, I think Bakhtiari is salty. Salty that he couldn't go with Aaron and all the other Packers buddies to the Jets. He's salty about a rebuilding year. He's salty about Jordan not being Aaron Rodgers. Salty about maybe not being a contender for a couple of years. Dan in Tosa. I don't want people to just automatically jump down Bakhtiari's throat like that because the guy is showing up every day. He's not holding out. He's not holding in. He's going in. He's doing his job. And I do think, you kind of mentioned earlier, I do think he does have sort of this personality with the media, and I don't know if that is what he is with the team. Like, you don't know what sort of teammate that he is until you're in that locker room. But even forever with the media, he's always been sort of a, someone who's going to talk a little crap.
Yeah, he's kind of a joker, right?
Yeah.
He's kind of a joker. And let's not forget, if we want the Packers offense to flourish this year and actually have the ability for Jordan Love to show what he has or doesn't have, boy, you need Bakhtiari. You need to be protected. And I know on draft night we did a draft special, and I asked Tausch. I said, Tausch, what's the most important thing you can give a young quarterback? Is it an offensive line or is it skill position? Offensive lineman, of course, says offensive line. But there's truth to that. You want to be comfortable, man. Those dudes are just absolute behemoths running at you, and to know you're protected, that'll make a young quarterback feel very comfortable.
I think it's important to remember that D-Bach is playing for another contract. Like his tenure with the Packers is probably over after this year, and he's looking to make that probably the last chance he can make a big contract. So I don't think he's gonna not be trying on the field by any means. So what he says is what he says, but it behooves David Bakhtiari to play every game and play well.
I'm sure we could go back into other training camps or other interviews and find times where Bakhtiari was saying things that people could construe in different ways, but you just knew because Aaron was there. The climate was different, the narrative was different, and everything was different there. But certainly, Bakhtiari going to be a key piece in keeping Jordan Love upright this season. He'll be a protector for Jordan Love. Speaking of protection, American Family Insurance offers you protection when it comes to your home. If you're a first-time home buyer, you're getting ready to be a first-time home buyer, I could not recommend American Family Insurance enough. I worked with them on renter's insurance, then auto insurance, and when it was time for me and my wife to buy a home, it was a no-brainer to work with our AmFam agent, and it was great because I had a lot of questions, right? Buying a home is stressful. There's a million things going on in your head, and when all of a sudden you have to look at policies, you don't know what half of it means. So to be able to have an agent, somebody I knew, somebody I trusted, somebody in the community I could call, talk to, ask questions, what does this umbrella policy mean? How much coverage do I need? It was awesome. And then when something went wrong at our home, which is inevitable if you're a homeowner. The claim process was fantastic. Didn't have to call some nameless, faceless 800 number, sit on hold, get a reference number, call back 2 days later, talk to somebody else. I worked with my agent because that's what you get with American Family, a local AmFam agent. Find yours at amfam.com. And remember, when you protect both your home and auto with American Family, you can save up to 28%. 1 or 0 coming up next on Scalzo and Brust, presented by Bud Light.
You're listening to Bud Light, Scalzo and Brust.
Use your freaking brain! No!
Subscribe to the Scalzo and Brust podcast free on the Wisconsin On Demand app and wherever you get your podcasts.
From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Jessica Gatso on 94.5 ESPN. Travel times are slowing down even more this afternoon on 94 eastbound from the Zoo interchange to downtown. That's a 9-minute commute. And on westbound from downtown to the Zoo is 11 minutes. From the Zoo interchange to Highway 16, that's 15 minutes. On I-41-45 southbound from Highway Q to the Zoo is 19 minutes. And northbound from Zoo to Highway Q is 18 minutes. On 43 northbound from downtown to Brown Deer is 16 minutes. 43 southbound from Brown Deer to downtown is 28 minutes. That's a 16-minute delay right now. Traffic is brought to you by the Golden Mast Inn. Nothing better than a Friday fish fry with breathtaking views of Okauchee Lake. Enjoy cod, walleye, or lake perch at the Golden Mast Inn. Learn more at goldenmastin.com. Tonight, cloudy and humid with a low of 68. On Friday, cloudy and humid with a likely chance for storms and showers, a high of 85. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Jessica Gatso on 94.5 ESPN.
When the game goes into overtime. But the game goes into overtime. The choice to enjoy is easy. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Pick up Bud Light at your local convenience store today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Does that knee pain keep getting worse? How about that pain in your shoulder or your hip or your back? Don't let them tell you steroids and surgery are your only option. Take my advice now and call QC Kinetics. Hey, it's Tony Smith. QC Kinetics can make that pain go away with all natural advanced regenerative medicine. They're helping people here in Milwaukee every day with these amazing natural treatments that restore and repair damaged joint tissue. Regenerative medicine uses concentrated healing agents from your own body to stimulate that damaged tissue in your joints so they can work like they're supposed to. And there's zero downtime. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting medical breakthrough. Patients here are getting real, lasting relief, and they're saying no to surgery and drugs. If you have pain due to an injury or arthritis, this is a remarkable option that you need to check out. And the consultation is free. Call QC Kinetics now. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. QC Kinetics. 414-285-3474.
The Bog in Saukville is Ozaki County's best golf experience. 18 championship holes designed by the legendary golfer Arnold Palmer, settled amongst 250 acres of beautiful private land. The Bog caters to golfers of all skill levels, offering a golf experience unlike any other. Come enjoy the finest golf greens in Wisconsin, and after your round, enjoy a bite to eat in our restaurant or out on our new patio bar overlooking the 18th green. It's time to golf, Wisconsin. It's time to enjoy the Bog.
Homeowners, Hall of Famer Leroy Butler here from Milwaukee Window Guys. I want to visit your home this fall. With winter pending, now is the time to improve your home. With yours truly attending all installations from August orders. For the best custom windows and doors, take the leap with Milwaukee Window Guys. Personal service, price match guaranteed, locally made, expert installation. Check out our 5-star reviews at MilwaukeeWindowGuys.com. Call 414-279-9838. The best price guaranteed.
The biggest pro football contests in Vegas are back and bigger than ever with $14 million in guaranteed prizes only at Circus Sports. Enter in Nevada, play from anywhere. 2 ways to win and no rake. Play Circa Million, where you make 5 picks against the spread each week with 100% payback. Or join Circus Survivor, where you select one team each week straight up. Last the longest to win it all. $14 million in guaranteed prizes. Visit circusports.com for details.
You're listening to Scalzo and Brust on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Bud Light, the official beer of the NFL.
Scalzo and Brust, presented by Bud Light, the official beer of the NFL. No Ben Brust, your cousin sub of the day. Brad Nortman, cousin subs. We believe in better. Josh DiMaggio on the ones and twos. Way to get this request in.
It's a good vibe right there. That's a head bopper right there. It's kind of like you feel that.
Oh,
you
yeah.
feel it go through you.
Oh, yeah.
And it shows up in the neck muscles, right? Just kind of like, okay, here we go.
Always a good vibe on a Grateful Dead Thursday. Joshy, let's get to some one or zeros.
Are you a 1 or a 0? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Are you a yes or a no?
There's no such thing as a gray area. Life is binary. It's just a 1 or a 0. 1 or 0 is presented by Circa Sports. Play the Circa Million and Circa Survivor with 14 million in guaranteed prizes. Only at Circa Sports. Enter in Vegas. Play from anywhere. Visit circasports.com for details.
He is Brad Nortman. I'm Greg Scalzo. We're your contestants for 1 or 0. Josh DiMaggio, your host. He asks us a question. We say 1 for yes, 0 for no. There is no gray area. Joshy, take it away.
I'm going to switch up the order here and start with this one. Today on Twitter, just a couple hours ago, Luke Fickell posted a video congratulating our very own Mark Tauscher on becoming the lead radio analyst for the Badgers football team. In the video, Luke Fickell had this to say.
Tausch, congratulations. We're excited to have you. I know that I've been trying to look up some things on you. And I know I played against Mac in '96. I think I heard you were on that team, but I don't really remember seeing you in the game. But hopefully you're more memorable on the air than you were when I played against you.
Damn!
1 or 0. Tausch found that funny.
1, but it stung a little bit. Like, that goes back to some old repressed, like, you know, that one he smiled, but I know that deep down inside there's just that little rush of like, yeah. Ugh.
I'm going to go with a 0. I think Tausch should probably be like, what the heck, dude? Like, this is a big step forward and a big announcement, and now this is going to make headlines, not actually me getting this role. What I would have loved to have seen, though, I wish I could see the reaction to Tausch and then Tausch's, like, reaction back to Fickell. Something tells me with Tausch's quick wit and all that, it would have been a very funny reaction. I guarantee he would have something back for Coach Fickell.
Of course, and it should be, hey, Coach, I played in the NFL for 11 years. I never saw you on the defensive line there.
Yeah.
I mean, like, Fickell still got that Ohio State blood in him. No matter what we want to say, I love Vic, but that is a Buckeye comment right there.
That is a Buckeye comment.
Do you think, this is not a 1 or 0, this is just a question, do you think Fickell has said that to Tausch face-to-face, or that was the first time he busted it out and he was feeling a little spicy?
I think they've all joked about it between Mac and Fickell and Tausch. I'm sure they were all in a room, and probably Derek Engler and Tarek Saleh, and they probably were all joking all about that.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it was probably floated to Tausch. Fickell doesn't seem to me like the guy that would have a very sprightly, like, comedy type personality. So I feel like he said it. It was well received, and he's like, "Oh, this is my opportunity to take it to the media." And I did not think that landed great.
What is the Twitter reaction to it?
Well, I've had some people who hold Tausch personally very fondly. They didn't love it. Badgers fans didn't love it. I think most people thought it was a joke for the most part and didn't. It did make me, when I heard it, go, oh, all right. I thought it was just going to be like, congrats, super excited, but that's one way to do it. Moving on here. Today, Greg Jennings ranked Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers as the 6th best quarterback in the NFL behind Mahomes, Burrow, Hurts, Allen, Herbert, with Lamar, Trevor Lawrence, Daniel Jones, and Dak Prescott rounding out the top 10. 1 or 0. Aaron Rodgers is higher than the 6th best quarterback in the NFL.
I'm a 1 here. I know that's going to be a shocker to many people. I still hold him in the same level that you put Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Hurts. Am I missing anybody there?
Herbert is the one that's one above him.
I would put Herbert back there. I put those 4 guys and Rodgers on the same level, and Hurts is probably still needs to do it for another year to show you. I get it. Rodgers had a down year last year. We've seen him have down years before and then bounce back. The guy has won 2 of the last 3 MVPs. I know he's getting a little bit older, but I don't think that age is affecting his arm or his legs to an extent that he can't be that guy that he was 2 years ago again.
I'm going to go with a 1 as well. You know, I like the tier system better than pure rankings. If I was going to do a tier system, I would put Mahomes in a tier by himself.
He's on his own at this
But
point.
if you're going to take 1 year, like, okay, just this season, and you look at Burrow, Hurts, Allen, and even throw Herbert in there, I don't see how those guys are significantly better than Rodgers. And if I look at Lamar, Trevor Lawrence, Daniel Jones, and Dak Prescott, I would certainly rather have Aaron Rodgers than any of those guys. So I think he's no lower than 6. So that gives me a 1 for sure.
I mean, the drop-off after Trevor Lawrence is remarkable.
Trevor Lawrence had some good games, but even the drop-off from what Aaron Rodgers can be into what we've seen from that's a long way. It's a long way. All right, last one here. In a new memoir by Billy Walters, Phil Mickelson allegedly wagered $1 billion on sports in the last 3 decades. The book says Mickelson lost nearly $100 million gambling, averaged 9 bets per day in 2011, and made 43 MLB bets in just 1 day. He also tried to bet on the Ryder Cup event he was playing in. 1 or 0. Betting $1 billion in 30 years is too much even for Phil Mickelson.
That's a 1 for me. This is like diagnosable. I mean, gambling addiction. He's an interesting cat, isn't he? I mean, he's got kind of, for a while, he had a squeaky clean type of, image and reputation. You will hear some weird things underneath the surface, though, for Phil Mickelson. This is way too much. If you're doing anything, what do we say, 43 times in 1 day, that is, you shouldn't be doing anything 43 times in 1 day, unless it's like breathing. This is absurd to me. Yes, that is too much. Too much.
It's too much, but I will say, off of a quick calculation, if his net worth is an estimated $875 million, which is what I'm seeing here on Sportico, and he's betting, because I think his unit was $100,000, right?
Yes.
So like he would bet $100,000 or 110 to win 100. That's like being a $100 bettor whose net worth is $875,000. So $100,000 to him. Now, again, that's ratio-wise, because you could still be like, well, it's still $100,000. And if you lost $100 million, somebody down the lineage of Mickelsons would appreciate to have $100 million. So it's not apples to apples. But yeah, I think this is a problem.
Yes.
And it's been obvious. I think, to me, once he joined the Live with as much gusto as he did, that was an obvious.
Pretty clear.
Yeah. I need to make some money. I like to gamble a lot, and I always viewed Phil way more as a bettor on the golf course. I knew. I mean, like 10 years ago, there were stories out there about him betting on sports and whatnot. But that's, like you said, 43 bets in a day is pretty hardcore.
He's lucky that he's a golfer and not a football player or someone with a much shorter career, because I fear for him when he can no longer make money golfing. Because that golfing or that gambling addiction, it's not going to go away overnight.
That's a great point.
So, I mean, he's going to be a 65-year-old man, and that $100 million, which will grow by then, I think he's going to wish he had that back.
Josh, if Brust was worth $875 million, would he be betting at the same clip as Phil?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think he might even surpass Phil if things got hot for a while.
Oh,
Me and Ben once bet Japanese baseball, and we used to be able to bet the lottery on an over-under basis. So they would add up all of the numbers in the New York State Lottery, the Massachusetts State Lottery. They would add them all up, and you would decide, and you would basically go over or under on the aggregate. Those were old Scalzo and Brust days. I've grown a lot since then.
What I was most interested about, like, the money is whatever. He's absurdly rich, and he's probably going to continue to be so. But, like, Phil strikes me as a pretty busy person. So, like, averaging 9 bets per day for an entire year, like, he's training, he's golfing. That's I'm focused on hitting the bookie up every single day in a way that's interesting.
He strikes me as a guy who takes other people's picks, too.
Yeah.
Like, to your point, like, if he's that busy, he's not watching all these games. He's just taking picks or advice. You think he's a guy who pays for picks? Like, pays the sports handicap?
No, he's got buddies.
He's got buddies?
Yeah.
Well, and it's not as easy as it is now. 2011, I mean, that's before the real takeoff of any sort of gambling app or anything like that. You had to put some effort into placing bets in 2011. He put some effort.
Imagine
those were the text and voicemail days.
Imagine being Phil Mickelson's bookie.
It's a good gig if you can get it.
Leveraging up to $1 million a day just for Phil.
Wow. That makes me uncomfortable to even think about.
Yeah. This makes me squirm a minute.
I also wonder how much more prominent it is with golfers. Like, we're hearing all these NFL guys who are kind of being busted. You saw a college player from Iowa who gets busted. Gambling and golf, I feel like, have been linked forever because there's so many games you can play on the course. Now, there's some people who bet big money. There's some people who will just play a $5 game just to have a little juice on there. But I do wonder if that's a bug that a lot of golfers have.
You would think that the stress in every single shot alone would be enough adrenaline for a full year, let alone a week. But I could see it. And I don't know, I feel like with golfers, there's a certain level of, even like with Phil, right? There's almost like a hidden underworld of the golf that's not represented on Full Swing, right?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I've heard enough stories in enough circles where it's like, man, that guy's doing that. So they're not as clean cut and poloed up as you might imagine.
That's it. The uniform's different, right?
Yes.
You know, they've got a very specific one.
I'm glad you mentioned Full Swing, because if you watch it and you're somebody who has experience gambling and on a golf course, you can see the guys gambling, but Full Swing not playing the audio of it or like showing what's really going on. Like, they're making offhanded references and they'll be like, oh, that's a nickel. And I believe I was watching with my girlfriend. I said, that's not a nickel, that's $5,000. That's what they're talking about right there.
Yes, indeed. And a better way to put that money to use would be to call Gina Della from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. PellaWI.com/radio. That's PellaWI.com/radio. Or stop by the Experience Centers in Brookfield or on the Beltline in Madison. Let's talk about the birds and the bees. Nature. We want to keep all of that out of our house, right? Well, the 250 series from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin include exclusive hidden screens which can stay inside the window while you're not using it. It's really slick. You look right through the window when it's closed. When you open it up, whoop, screen pops right up with it. If you bundle and save 250 series patio door and 8 double hung windows with exclusive hidden screens, you can pay as low as $188 per month. Now that is a good deal, and I can't recommend Gina Dell and her team enough. They worked on a project on my old home, on the house that I'm in now, and they're working on another project with me right now. Fantastic experience, great crew, and an awesome team. Joe Franco, my sales guy, fantastic as well. PellaWI.com/radio. That's PellaWI.com/radio. We'll get back on track with Packers Talk. Some interesting comments from Peter King we'll listen to next. It's Scalzo and Brust, presented by the official beer of the NFL, Bud Light.
You're listening to Scalzo and Brust, presented by Bud Light.
Stop! Oh, and wiggle with it. Yeah, stop! Oh, and wiggle with it, 369. And I just don't want to swear right now. Give it to me one more time. Get low, get low, get low, get low, get low, get low. To the window, to the wall.
Subscribe and listen to full show podcasts available free on Apple, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts.
From the tee box to the green and everything golf-related in between.
Same thing with Xander and Cantley. Like, those four, because you know you're just going to pair them together. Like, those four are safe on this Ryder Cup team. They're safe in 2 years on that Ryder Cup team.
On the tee with Gabe Neitzel and Steven Watson.
Like, JT and Spieth are still your horses. Like, they are still your first team out.
On the tee with Gabe and Steven, presented by Wisconsin Golf Trips. Mondays at 6 on 94.5 ESPN.
Announcing the former All-Star Buick GMC is now the all-new Kunis Buick GMC of Oak Creek. And the former John Paul's Buick GMC is now the all-new Kunis Buick GMC of Greenfield, Milwaukee's Buick GMC headquarters. Greg Kunis was recently named Time Magazine's Wisconsin Automotive Dealer of the Year. Plus, Kunis dealerships have been awarded Top 100 Best in the U.S. by the Automotive News the past 9 years. Our mission is to bring the Kunis Auto Group's unequaled customer satisfaction and service to our friends in the greater Milwaukee area. Kunis Milwaukee Buick GMC stores have the area's largest pre-owned car, truck, and SUV inventory with over 3,000 vehicles available on lot or online and always at a price and payment you can afford. And all new and pre-owned Kunis vehicles come with our exclusive no-fear lifetime warranty coverage at no extra charge. So buy like a champion at the all-new Kunis Buick GMC of Oak Creek, 7020 South 27th Street, or Kunis Buick GMC of Greenfield, 3615 South 108th Street. Milwaukee's Buick GMC headquarters.
Stay up to date on the green and gold all off season. The Green and Gold Fix podcast is brought to you by Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Luxury stay, elite play, unwind in sophisticated comfort. Win big, dine, and experience the events in Milwaukee. Show podcasts, team-centric feeds, and listening live whenever, wherever. All of that in the palm of your hand. The Wisconsin On Demand app, available in the Apple or Android App Store.
Does that knee pain keep getting worse? How about that pain in your shoulder or your hip or your back? Don't let them tell you steroids and surgery are your only option. Take my advice now and call QC Kinetics. Hey, it's Tony Smith. QC Kinetics can make that pain go away with all natural advanced regenerative medicine. They're helping people here in Milwaukee every day with these amazing natural treatments that restore and repair damaged joint tissue. Regenerative medicine uses concentrated healing agents from your own body to stimulate that damaged tissue in your joints so they can work like they're supposed to. And there's zero downtime. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting medical breakthrough. Patients here are getting real, lasting relief. And they're saying no to surgery and drugs. If you have pain due to an injury or arthritis, this is a remarkable option that you need to check out. And the consultation is free. Call QC Kinetics now. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. QC Kinetics. 414-285-3474.
The next era
Jordan knows he has all the support around him.
is here.
I know he's excited. I know his teammates are excited for him. I can promise you that
everybody wants him to have a lot of success this year.
Jordan Love's first training camp as QB1 is underway.
being a Green Bay Packer, there's always very high expectations, and nothing changes. I look at it as a fresh start.
Keep it right here all throughout camp as we react to every practice rep happening in Green Bay. We are Milwaukee's home to talk green and gold. 94.5 ESPN.
Life's better with an auto policy from American Family Insurance. No matter what dreams you're driving towards. That's because our expert agents will make you feel totally protected with the right auto coverage at the right price. You'll also save up to 23% when you bundle auto with home. American Family Insurance. Get a quote, find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
You're listening to Scalzo and Brust on 94.5 ESPN. Missed any of the show? Find us on Wisconsin On Demand wherever you get your podcasts. It's free, it's everywhere, and it's for you.
Scalzo and Brust, presented by Bud Light, the official beer of the NFL. No Ben Brust on a Grateful Dead Thursday. Your cousin sub of the day, Brad Norman, cousin subs. We believe in better. Packers in Cincinnati. Training camp ongoing, joint practices ongoing, preseason game tomorrow night, and there's been a lot to talk about around Jordan Love and this Packers team, and a lot of focus on, like, what are they going to be this year? What are they going to be at the beginning of the season? How far along is Jordan Love? But I thought it was interesting that Peter King had sort of a step back approach as far as this Packers organization, and had some interesting comments about this team in general, how they operate, and the expectation that they are not going to change their ways anytime soon.
You don't really have any way to judge this other than a sense. But my sense being around Green Bay is that they needed to move on from Aaron Rodgers. They wanted some new blood on offense, quarterback, wide receiver, tight end. They wanted to start over. Had a long conversation with Brian Gutekunst, the general manager of the Packers, about this franchise being a continuum. In 2008, Brett Favre wanted to come back. No, we're going with Aaron Rodgers. 2023, Aaron Rodgers wasn't sure he wanted to come back. Okay, we love you, but we're going to go with Jordan Love. They don't know how Jordan Love is going to be, but as Gutekunst said, listen, we are a draft and develop franchise, always will be. if you draft a guy in the first round, he's had 3 years to sit behind a great quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. It's time. And I think the Packers are willing to take whatever lumps they have to take in 2023 to develop Jordan Love for the long term.
I don't know if he was quoting Brian Gutekunst when he said, you draft a quarterback in the first round, he sits for 3 years under Aaron Rodgers, and it's time. Like, I don't know if that was from Goody or if that was an editorial from Peter King, but to what we were talking about earlier, in terms of reading into how people talk about other players, if Goody said it's his time, we draft him in the first round, and we've had him for 3 years, that's not a huge vote of confidence.
No, you don't love to hear that. And you would love to hear he was just so good, we couldn't bury him any longer. That was the narrative coming out of Kansas City, right? Because they had Alex Smith. They had Alex Smith, and he was playing actually a couple of years before that at a Pro Bowl level, and he was taking him to the playoffs. And you could literally look back at Mahomes, and Mahomes is a once-in-a-generation talent, so him and Love shouldn't be in the same breath. But they said we couldn't bury him anymore. How can we possibly have this guy be our backup? And you made a hard move. Again, who knows what is Peter King's words and what's Goody's words? But again, you'd love to hear he is so good, we have to get him on the field. And you don't hear that.
No, so much of this transition, and again, it has none of what we're talking about here has bearing over how good Jordan Love will be, but the narrative around it, so much of it has been, well, Aaron needed to go. And it was time to move on. And it was time to start over, as opposed to your point, Jordan Love's just so good. The next chapter's here. The next guy is here. We had to make way for him. It feels like now this ended, so now we're going to try this, as opposed to, hey, we're making this end because this is so good.
Well, and it's such an interesting comparison between this and what happened with Garoppolo and Brady, right? Because not dissimilar situations. Brady was maybe not publicly, we know publicly he was unhappy with the pick and with Belichick's kind of drive to get Brady out and Garoppolo in. And obviously he took steps to make sure that didn't happen. But he remained a good soldier, Brady did. He showed no signs of dropping off. And he basically put them in a position where it's we cannot make the move. And we've seen what Garoppolo's career is now. It's okay. It's not bad. It's okay. But I just get the feeling that I just wonder if Rodgers wouldn't have gone full rebellion mode, right? If they just would have said, you know what, you're pleasant enough to be around, and darn it, you're still good, we're going to ship Love off. Or if there's just you know what, we're going to stick to our script, and darn it, how much longer can we keep you in this building? We're sick of you, personally at least. Because you know that the relationships were super rift, and I can't help but think that played a role. But Packers, man, they're traditional. They're going to stick to their script. They're going to stick to their program. It's worked before. 3 years in wait, and then a Hall of Fame career, might not try it again. So I don't know if it's going to be that easy this time around.
I don't think it was that easy the first time around. Yeah. I mean, they drafted Brian Braun in the second round the first year that Rodgers was starting. So it's not like they had such confidence in him. They were like, all right, we know he's the dude. We'll keep drafting guys in the fourth and fifth round because that's what the Packers always do. They went and drafted Brian Braun, and our guy Merrill Hodge, friend of show, went on the air and was like, yeah, Brian Braun's going to be the dude moving forward. And it's the first time many people have heard that name in 15 years.
That's right. That is quite a throwback name right there.
Justin from Milwaukee chimes in and says, well, at least Goody admits he will continue to completely ignore to use trades as an avenue to improve this roster. Thanks, Goody. I do want to dive more into the draft and develop piece of that next. We'll continue the conversation in 2 minutes. It's Scalzo and Brust, presented by Bud Light.
From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Jessica Gatso on 94.5 ESPN. Continuing to see the usual slowdowns this evening. On 94 eastbound from Highway 16 to the Zoo is 15 minutes. From the Zoo to downtown is 11 minutes. And on 94 westbound from downtown to the Zoo is a 10-minute drive, and the Zoo to Highway 16 is a 16-minute commute. On 4145 southbound from Highway Q to the Zoo will take you 21 minutes, and on northbound from the Zoo to Highway Q will take you 17 minutes. And we're still seeing the worst delays on 43 right now. On northbound from downtown to Brown Deer is 17 minutes, and 43 southbound from Brown Deer to downtown, that will take you 30 minutes. And on 94 southbound from downtown to Layton is a 12-minute drive. Tonight, increasing clouds and humid with a low of 68. On Friday, partly cloudy and humid, showers and storms likely, a high of 85. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Jessica Gatso on 94.5 ESPN.
Woo! I am thirsty today. Definitely going to need a cold one. There's the one. Today on Ben's Beer Fridge, we're going with one of my favorites and getting in the fall spirit with the pride of Plover. That's Oso Brewing Company. Our guy Mark Buter is here to spread the Oktoberfest cheer as I crack open an Oso O-Fest and learn all about it.
Our Oktoberfest is very traditional lager beer, very easy drinking. But when it comes down to our Oktoberfest, we're real serious. I mean, Oktoberfest is Vienna, Munich, and Pilsen malt, and that's it. But by doing it really traditional and nice, people keep coming back. And it means that football's coming. And that's what's super exciting about Oktoberfest. It means football's right around the corner.
Thanks again to Oso Brewing Company owner Mark Butera for hopping on and telling us all about the Oso O-Fest. And remember, folks, whether it's hot summer months or the breezy fall weather, the fridge should always be stocked.
Homer here. You're listening to 94.5 ESPN, WKTI, and WKTI HD, Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
For your sports talk fix every day from 4 to 6, it's Scalzo and Brust. For your sports talk fix every day from 4 to 6, it's Scalzo and Brust. For your sports talk fix every day from 4 to 6, it's Scalzo and Brust. For your sports talk fix every day from 4 to 6, it's Scalzo and Brust.
Live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios at the Avenue.
Party,
this is Scalzo and Brust, presented by Bud Light
it's a party,
on 94.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
It's a party, baby. Woo! It's a party, baby.
Presented by Bud Light, the official beer of the NFL. Greg Scalzo, Josh DiMaggio, Ryan Wollersheim, our cousin sub of the day, Brad Nortman, cousin subs we believe in better. Ben Brust out on another one of his August vacations. So we
only got 3 more left to go for the month.
It's remarkable. He somehow plays in 12 different member guest tournaments in 10 weekends. Like, I don't understand it. He's at a lake right now, a lake house, 9 hours away, and he drives there, which I fundamentally don't understand, but we can get into that. I guess let me ask you, Brad, would you drive 9 hours somewhere?
It depends what the destination is, but you'd think a flight would solve your problem at that point. 9 hours is a long way.
9 hours is a long way.
You have to be going to a pretty desolate place where there's no close airline or anything. 9 hours.
So he's driving 5 hours to St. Louis and then another 4 hours to this lake home. At the bare minimum, I would say just fly to St. Louis and then go with the family to the lake.
See, I do think there's an aspect of we want a car so we can escape the family, which I think is an important factor and something I would want.
Sounds like you were told this.
No, I was not.
Wow. Ben wants to escape the girlfriend's family.
That was me editorializing like Peter King.
800-990 the ESPN, 800-990-3776. And we heard from Peter King on this Green Bay Packers team. And we heard from him talk a little bit about how they felt like they had to move on from Aaron Rodgers. They ultimately wanted to start over. And as a team that continues to do what they do, like you said, Brad, this is cyclical. In a draft and develop world, they end up saying, you know what? It's time. It's time for Jordan Love.
Totally. And it's interesting to see the way different teams approach the same question, right? With the question being, how do we get a franchise quarterback and keep him for the long term? That's what every NFL team is doing. And if they don't have one, they're trying to do that. And it's interesting to see how the teams go about that. the way my mind works, and for people that have listened to Wilde and Tausch or College Game Day or whatever, I love analogies, right? So I've been workshopping one in my brain recently, and I think I like where it landed. So you've seen the movie Gladiator, right? Back Russell Crowe. Yes, sir. You've seen Gladiator. How about like Apollo 13? Seen Apollo 13?
I've seen Apollo 13.
Okay. So in Gladiator and Apollo 13, you got gladiators and you got astronauts, okay? Very different mentality, right? So I feel like some teams approach their quarterback like astronauts, right? This is the Green Bay Packers of the world. What they're going to do is they're going to get their guy, and they're not going to send him to space. They're going to spend time in the classroom. They're going to make sure he goes in the simulator a bunch. And you know what? If he's puking in the simulator, hey, it's not time to put him in yet. And we saw Jordan Love puking in the simulator back in Kansas City a couple of years ago. So they're going to take their time with him. They're going to make sure that he's ready. They're going to even do like a shot up in the spacecraft just to see how it feels and come right back down before that lunar mission. So it's patience, it's time, it's preparation. We're not going to make this too quick. We're going to make sure that when you're in that spaceship and you're going to Mars, you know what's happening. The moon in Apollo 13's case. Some teams treat their quarterbacks like a gladiator, okay? What happens in Gladiator, right? They basically pluck these dudes out of anywhere, and they say, go get them. They send them to the Coliseum.
Here's a sword, here's a shield.
Good luck.
Yeah.
What happens to most gladiators?
They don't make it.
They don't make it. They think they're fighting one battle and a tiger bites their head off, right? And they take a spear to the side. And I think that is the sort of churn that happens with a bunch of other teams, right? If you're grasping for a quarterback, you're just going to keep on drafting until your dude gets his head bit off. And all of a sudden, you're back in the game again where you need to go back to the draft board. We've seen Cleveland do this for how long? We've seen so many other teams, the Bears, of just reaching and just time after time after time going to pick out gladiators, throw them in the Coliseum, and hope they win. Now, if they do win and you're the Russell Crowe of the world, here's what you get on the other side. You can lead an army because basically this quarterback is super cheap and you can dial up the rest of your roster. And that's the popular mentality of let's get a young quarterback on a rookie deal and let's stuff him with talent and we'll be able to go from there. The problem is those dudes do not make it usually. So as you're looking at it as a Packer fan or a football fan, those are the two ways to do it, right? You treat him like an astronaut, you get him in the classroom, let him be patient. Hey, if they're in the simulator and they can't take it, they're not ready yet. The Packers have been that, and they've always been that. There's plenty of other teams that throw them, and they're as gladiators. Pluck them up, throw them in there. If they die, so what? On to the next one. Now, I hope, and I think, if Packers treated Jordan Love as a gladiator, I don't think he would have made it. And I don't want to associate Jordan Love with any sort of physical pain, but if the Packers were a gladiator type franchise and they picked him in the first round and said, go get him, I think a guy on the chariot would have took him out. I think the Tiger would have got him. This was the right move for a guy like Jordan Love to do this. And if I'm running a franchise, I do want to be the Packers. I do want to be the one that thinks ahead, puts my guy in the incubator, and when the time I'm ready to shoot him off to space, he's ready. Now, you could argue that they're kicking out the Buzz Aldrins of the world too soon, and they said we should have just maybe not aged him out so quick to bring the new class up. But that is the way that I would want my franchise to be run. So that is the analogy plus take, that's the right way to do it.
Well done.
It's the right way to do it.
Yes, it's the right way to do it. Now, the Packers, however, stumbled into the ability to do it because in order to do that, you need a great quarterback.
That's
right?
correct. That's correct.
And it's very rare you're one of the, 7 or 10 teams, let's call it, where in the NFL right now, if they were to draft a quarterback in the first round, the guy they know is going to be better right away. But the Packers did have the luxury. It's interesting. From 92 to 21, so a span of 30 years, there was 81 quarterbacks drafted in the first round. Because now I'm interested to see, you're right, it worked for Aaron Rodgers. Are there examples of guys who it didn't work for ultimately? So 10 of 81 quarterbacks failed to start at least one game during their rookie season. Jordan Love, we know the story there. Aaron Rodgers, we know the story there. Jake Locker, didn't work. Brady Quinn, didn't work. Jason Campbell, I feel like if he stayed healthy at certain points, was serviceable. Phillip Rivers, absolutely worked. J.P. Lossman, didn't work. Carson Palmer, definitely worked. Chad Pennington, I would say that worked. And Dante Culpepper, I would say that worked as well. So I
Did
do
that
think
leave out Mahomes, or was the years not within?
I think Mahomes
started
the last game.
Yeah.
The very last game. They already clinched the playoffs. It was kind of like a...
And you could throw, who I like that you drew a comparison to earlier, a Jimmy Garoppolo in there, because I think Garoppolo's an interesting case. If Jordan Love becomes Jimmy Garoppolo, are Packers fans going to be satisfied? Because it's not Aaron Rodgers, but Garoppolo got his team to the Super Bowl. Like, he's shown that he is I'm sure he's made a Pro Bowl, especially when 14 different quarterbacks make a Pro Bowl every year. He's shown that he is a good quarterback in the NFL. He's above average, but he's definitely, nobody's going to call him great.
Mm-hmm.
Would Packer fans be disappointed in Jimmy Garoppolo if that's who Jordan Love turns into?
I don't think they should be. I think they should... The worst case scenario is dismal, right? You cannot be dismal and have there be any sort of excitement or positive winning expectations in the locker room. And then you fall into that mode of, we just got to keep taking stabs at it before you get there. You need some quarterback stability. Even if you're Garoppolo, you maintain relevance. I don't think, the Packers have had a lot of success for a long time. I'm not sure everybody can understand how toxic losing is and how quickly that finds its way into your locker room, and then how all of a sudden that can be your organization, right? Because then you're cycling through coaches, you're cycling through players, you're cycling through GMs. You can really lose direction as a franchise quickly. So anything you can do for an easy handoff, or a guy like Jimmy G to be able to at least get you victories, to be serviceable, I think you need that. You do not want to be dismal. You don't want to be the worst team in the league. Now, you might get a stab at great quarterbacks, but even those are a toss-up.
Yeah, you could look at top 5 picks, number 1 overall picks. I mean, there's a Johnny Manziel documentary out right now. Baker Mayfield's on his, 4th team, trying to beat Kyle Trask for the starting role down in Tampa Bay. So things can certainly change quickly. 800-990-ESPN, 800-990-3776. As a Packer fan, would you be satisfied with Jimmy Garoppolo? I like your astronaut gladiator perspective. I do. And I think that it's the best approach to take, but it's still never a guarantee.
It's never a guarantee.
It's never a guarantee.
Greg, I have a question for both of you guys.
Uh-oh.
Do you think play out the next 2 years of Jordan Love as a mirror of Jimmy Garoppolo's career? Do you think the Packers make the requisite offer to retain a player of that level? Because I'm having a hard time believing the Packers are willing to dole out the money necessary to keep a Jimmy Garoppolo level player on their roster if he's not better than Jimmy Garoppolo.
You're saying if he's Jimmy G level for 13 or for 23 for 23 and 24.
Right.
And you're asking, would they actually pay him I mean, it would be $30+ million a year.
It's $100 million guaranteed, like at the bare minimum.
Yeah, I think they would end up doing it.
I think they would do it.
Yeah.
I think they would
I think that just flies in the face of their philosophy. And I know
what is the philosophy though?
The Packers, either you're elite and they pay you, or they try and nickel and dime you.
Yes, but the quarterback position's different.
It is, but I think there's enough cases where people end up with Jimmy G level contracts, and they're saying this isn't good enough. Derek Carr, for instance, like we're paying this guy way too much, and he's not getting it done.
But you play that string out. That means 23, 24. They're just okay, right? They're not great, but they're an okay team. Now you want to hit the reset button in 25? I mean, I guess it probably depends who's making the call. Because if Goody's around, I don't think he makes that call. I think he pays Jordan Love. If Goody is out, I could see a new GM coming in.
And these decisions don't take place in a vacuum, right? What else is out there? Is there any free agent we like more? Is there anybody coming up that we like more? Are you in the top 10 of the draft pick, right? So maybe there's a crop of quarterbacks you like. I think there's a place. I don't love this idea that there has to be an elite quarterback with a top 10 contract that resets the market, or you're on a rookie deal. I think there's a place for quarterbacks that you can be an average quarterback, maybe slightly above average, but then have a semi-team friendly deal. You get paid. The team has some ability to go out and get some guys. What is Jimmy G making with the Raiders? Is it it's $30 million, $35 million a year, something like that? I mean, the guarantees certainly make them committed to him. And I know that
Jimmy G is making $25 million averaged. That
doesn't seem like, that's a lot of money, but that doesn't seem like too much for a starting NFL quarterback. It gives them enough room to develop and get guys around him.
I mean, it's really once you get into Goff at $33 million, Cousins $35, Carr at $37.5, Daniel Jones at $40 million a year. Like,
that's eye-popping.
That's the one that scares you a little bit with Daniel Jones. And obviously we know some of the stories with Russell Wilson and some of the other quarterbacks on the list. But yeah, I think it's going to be a difficult decision if that's the case.
If you tell me that you just mentioned Daniel Jones, if Jordan Love is Daniel Jones and the Packers give him a comparable contract, to me, that's full-blown disaster.
Yeah, I guess you say that, but Daniel Jones just went to the playoffs on a team with zero weapons. Like, if Jordan Love plays like Daniel Jones this year, the Packers as an organization can convince themselves that he will continue to develop to be a really, really good quarterback.
Well, and I'll tell you what matters too is coaching, right? Because Brian Daboll came in and he just put him in great situations. So everybody's got to rise their game up, right? The coaches got to be better. The players around him got to be better. So if Jordan Love isn't going to be a top five quarterback in the league at any given time, not a Hall of Famer, and he's going to be somewhere between 12 and 17, then the whole rest of the organization needs to step up and do their part. And Daboll did that in New York.
800-990-ESPN, 800-990-3776. We need caller 8, caller 10 right now. We've got over-under coming up next on Scalzo and Brust. Caller 8, caller 10, 800-990-3776. Again, 800-990-ESPN. Josh DiMaggio is a category. We don't know what it is. He's applied an over-under line for the amount of correct answers Brad and I will get out of 10 guesses within 3 minutes. We don't know what the line is either. Caller number 8, you'll find out both. You say over or under, depending on how much you believe in us. Caller number 10, you're stuck on the other side. Winner wins themselves a 4-pack to the wonderful Road America. Caller 8, caller 10, 800-990-ESPN, 800-990-3776. That's coming up next on Scalzo and Brust, presented by Bud Light.
You're listening to Bud Light, Scalzo and Brust.
S. Dot chimes in with Cartillo's way.
Carlito's way.
Okay, so here's the thing. I promise you, the R word. No, Josh. The R does look like it goes over into the T.
Subscribe to the Scalzo and Brust podcast free on the Wisconsin On Demand app and wherever you get your podcasts.
From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Jessica Gatso on 94.5 ESPN. Still seeing the usual delays this evening. On 94 eastbound from Highway 16 to the Zoo will take you 14 minutes, and from the Zoo to downtown will take you 11 minutes. On 94 westbound from downtown to the Zoo is 12 minutes, and from the Zoo to Highway 16 is 17 minutes. On 4145 southbound from Highway Q to the Zoo is 22 minutes, and 4145 northbound from the Zoo to Highway Q is 19 minutes. Still seeing the worst slowdowns on 43 right now. On northbound from downtown to Brown Deer is a 17-minute commute, and on southbound from Brown Deer to downtown is 28 minutes. On 94 southbound from downtown to Layton will take you 11 minutes. Tonight, cloudy and humid with a low of 68. On Friday, partly cloudy and humid, a likely chance for showers and storms, a high of 85. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Jessica Gatso on 94.5 ESPN.
I'm coming.
Hi, Mark Tauscher. Tausch, you have mosquitoes in here.
It's like an insect zoo right now at my house. Here comes that wasp again. Incoming.
Shoo, you need Pella's 250 series of windows with exclusive hidden screens, protecting you from nature.
Yes, please. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin to the rescue.
Get a 250 series patio door and 8 double-hung windows with hidden screens as low as $188 per month. PellaWI.com. Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details. Offer ends 8/31/23.
The place where you make your wildest food fantasies come true. The place where you take a ride on the iconic giant slide. The place where you smell all the smells. That's right. It all happens at the Wisconsin State Fair. From August 3rd through the 13th, head to State Fair Park for some summer fun. Get your tickets at wistatefair.com.
The James Imaging Systems people, they're one reason why so many businesses choose to do business with James, like Brookfield GMC, controller Jay Doyle.
They're compatriots to the point where when I call, they act like they're your best friend.
Document imaging technology, managed print services, content management solutions, all supported by the James Imaging Systems people. People who are dedicated to helping your business do business better.
They do a great job. They're like it's one of your workers. They want to help.
Not tomorrow, not next week. Help when you need it. That's James Imaging Systems.
Yeah, they do a great job. They're there immediately, and it's a great feeling because I know they care.
James Imaging Systems.
I do love working with James Imaging. It's perfect.
Put the good people at James Imaging Systems to work for your business. Call 262-781-7700 or visit jamesimaging.com. James Imaging Systems, your local office technology partner.
Milwaukee's place to talk green and gold.
Oh, wow!
Yeah, I love Nathaniel Hackett, and those comments were very surprising.
Wow!
And still, all things Aaron Rodgers is right here.
It made me feel bad.
Wow, dude!
Someone who's accomplished a lot in the league is that insecure that they have to take another man down.
It was a G.I. Jane jump.
I thought it was way out of line, inappropriate, and I think he needs to keep my coach's names out of his mouth.
I'm going to, okay?
94.5 ESPN.
Sunday. That's right, folks. Great Lakes Dragway's 2023 race season is in full swing. Come out to see our annual events like Memorial Day Weekend, Labor Day Weekend, Nitro Streetcar Brawl, Import Wars, Larry's Fun Fest, and Bug Fest. Looking for something new and exciting? Come see the Night of Fire Jet Show. Want the track all to yourself? Email or call about a private track rental. Go to GreatLakesDragaway.com for contact information and our full season schedule. Great Lakes Dragaway, just a burnout west of I-94 on County KR. Be there.
You're listening to Scalzo and Brust on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Bud Light and streaming live on Wisconsin On Demand.
Chef Ed, the official chef of the Scalzo and Brust family, says, I'm an old guy. I'm blown away with today's contracts. Bart Starr made $100,000. Times have changed, Chef Ed. I'm guessing that's total. He definitely didn't make that per year.
Yeah, I have no idea. I was just thinking, and I don't want to put Brad's business out on there, but I think a rookie punter makes more than that in today's NFL.
Much more. Much more.
Yeah, people can, I'm sure, go and look that up themselves.
Yeah, it's all I'm not setting you out here.
Well, what's crazy is, too, I mean, I forget about what even football was like back then. I think about training camp. Training camp was to get those dudes back in shape because they had another job in the offseason. They were selling cars or something in the offseason. So, man, the game of football has changed a lot.
It certainly has. He's Brad Norman, our cousin sub of the day. I'm Greg Scalzo, Josh and Amaj running the show, and it's time to play some over-under.
Will the guys hit the over, or will they disappoint like they usually do? It's time for Over Under on Scalzo and Brust.
It is time for Over Under. Josh DiMaggio has a category. We don't know what it is. He's got an Over Under line he's applied as well. Brad and I get 10 guesses within 3 minutes. Get as many correct answers as possible. Now, caller number 8 was Quentin in Monona. So he heard both of those from Josh. He believes in us, Brad. He says over. Caller number 10, Kyle in a car, stuck on the under. Winner wins a 4-pack to Road America. Joshua, what do we have this week?
I want to get my excuse out right away. I'm feeling a little remorse about my number, but I read it to both Quentin and to Kyle, so we have to go with it. I'm looking for the 10 active leaders in touchdowns in the NFL. The caveat is they currently have to be on a team. So names like Mark Ingram or Ezekiel Elliott, they are still not quite, they're active considered, but they are not on the list because they're not on the team. So we can't guarantee they'll be there.
This is like career?
Yes, career. It's not passing touchdowns. It is receiving, rushing, punt return, kick return, whatever. Any other way that you would get a touchdown. The over-under number is 6.5.
You think that's too high?
I think it's too low.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it's too easy. I'm going to start the countdown here in 3, 2, 1.
I mean, we got to start with running backs, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, Derrick Henry's got to be up there.
Yeah. Who are the vets, right? Vets that have been along and been productive for a long period of time. Christian McCaffrey? Has he been around long enough?
I don't know if he's been around long enough.
Probably not.
Latavius Murray was on this list for running backs last year. We did running back touchdowns last year, and Latavius Murray was on that list. He is currently rostered. I know that. But I think Henry was the leader from running backs last year.
Okay, I mean, I like Henry.
I think from a wide receiver standpoint, you got to look at, like, DeAndre Hopkins, right?
Yep. What about like Travis Kelce? He's been around for quite a while.
Kelsey's a good one. All right, where do we want to start? Do we want to start running backs? Should we go Derrick Henry, final answer?
Yeah, let's do
Derrick Henry, final answer.
Derrick Henry is third
2
on the list
minutes.
with 81.
Okay. Hopkins?
I like Hopkins. I like that answer.
DeAndre Hopkins, final answer.
DeAndre Hopkins is 7th with 71.
Okay. How about...
We just talked about him in the break, Devontae Adams.
I like that.
Got to be
like
on
that.
there. Devontae Adams, final answer.
He is first with 87.
Really?
Okay, if we're talking about 80s and 70s being the amount, I think I like Travis Kelce. I think he's put up... How long
He's
has he been
got
in the
to
league for?
put
Like
10
he's in his
touchdowns.
30s.
Yeah. Travis Kelce, final answer.
Travis Kelce is
Good call.
6th with 72.
Good call. Older running backs, Kamara.
That's a good one.
I just feel like he doesn't get that many rushing, but he catches the ball a lot.
He does.
1 minute.
How long is Eckler? Eckler hasn't been around for long enough.
I don't think so. Diggs?
That's a good one. I like Diggs.
I don't know if I trust my Latavius Murray when we put everybody else into the mix.
What running backs are we missing? I feel like there's got to be more of those.
I mean, Eckler's not a bad one. McCaffrey's not a bad one. He's just been hurt.
Yeah.
I would go Eckler over McCaffrey because I'm pretty sure he had like 20 touchdowns last year.
Yeah, I do Eckler.
Austin Eckler, final answer.
Austin Eckler is 9th on the list with 63.
30 seconds.
McCaffrey?
Yeah.
McCaffrey, final answer.
Christian McCaffrey is tied at 10th with 60.
How many more do we need?
You guys need one more.
Evans is still on Tampa, right?
Mike Evans, yes.
Mike
I
Evans,
like that
final
one.
answer.
Mike
10.
There we go.
Mike Evans is 2nd on the list with 82 touchdowns.
We're going to need you to run that full list down. Congratulations to Quentin in Monona for believing in Brad and myself. Joshy.
There's a Packer on the list.
It's a low number. Aaron Jones?
He's the one that was tied there.
Wow.
Yes. There is, you mentioned Alvin Kamara, 72 touchdowns in his career.
He does.
He had the seasons where he had a few where he put like 15 up back to back. There's a former Badger. Melvin Gordon. He's currently on the Ravens. He is
I know he's on the Ravens. I'm just surprised he's got that many
69
touchdowns.
Nice touchdowns. And then the last one is also a Patrick Mahomes acolyte, Tyreek Hill.
Oh, of course.
Tyreek Hill is 4th on the list with 76 touchdowns in his career.
All right.
List. Good list, Joshy.
I'm glad we got the ones we got. I definitely wouldn't have gotten Melvin.
Yeah,
that's
sneaky.
We would be remiss. The Latavius Murray legend that existed last year. Because he doesn't receive many touchdowns, he was 16th on this list, behind Randall Cobb, who is 15 all time.
But for only rushing touchdowns, Latavius Murray's still probably like 3rd overall.
Yeah, I'm sure he only has like 1 or 2.
It was unbelievable last year. We had to look it up. Latavius Murray, it didn't make any sense that he was on the list. We had to double check the work.
He was a practice squad player who got cut before the season started, then signed, then had like a 2 or 3 touchdown game when he filled in for injury and added to his list of top 10 active running backs touchdowns.
Oh, wow.
Unbelievable. Well, great job by us. Pat on the back to us. Our smart performance, courtesy of Smart Spaces, smartspaceswi.com. We're here in the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Studios, part of our office at the 3rd Street Market Hall. And that office is integrated seamlessly with all of the technology that our team needs to do what they do best every day. It is technologically integrated. It's able to perform beautifully across all virtual meeting environments, and it is easy to use for our team. Software integration. You've got microphones in the ceilings, and you've got cameras on the wall. So when you go into a meeting room, you just hit one button, and you're connected to who you need to be connected to. That's what you need in today's virtual world. That's what your company's space needs. So check out smartspaceswi.com. They have a listen-first culture where they'll learn your business's needs and provide seamless solutions for your office. We'll get back to the Green Bay Packers, talk a little Jordan Love. It is Scalzo and Brust, presented by Bud Light.
You're listening to Scalzo and Brust, presented by Bud Light.
But then we'll get back going to Tampa Bay. Chugga, 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 chugga. I do more chuggas than you. I'm a chugga, 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 chugga.
You're in it for yourself with that chugga.
No, I like the build-up, man.
Subscribe and listen to full show podcasts available free on Apple, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts.
From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Jessica Gatso on 94.5 ESPN. There is one incident to look out for right now on I-43-94 South. That's at the ramp from 9th and Mineral Street. The left lane is blocked due to a disabled vehicle. Looking at your travel times, on 94 eastbound from Highway 16 to the zoo is 15 minutes. On westbound from downtown to the zoo is 11 minutes. On 4145 southbound from Highway Q to the zoo is a 19-minute commute. And northbound from the zoo to Highway Q is an 18-minute commute. And on 43 from downtown to Brown Deer looks like 16 minutes. On southbound from Brown Deer to downtown, that's a 27-minute commute. Traffic is brought to you by the Lake Country Dockhounds in Oconomowoc. Enjoy a family-friendly baseball experience in Lake Country where summer nights last longer. Go to dockhounds.com to get tickets. Tonight, increasing clouds and humid with a low of 68. On Friday, partly cloudy and humid. Showers and storms likely with a high of 85. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Jessica Gatso on 94.5 ESPN.
It's ESPN Wisconsin's Greg Scalzo for Smart Spaces. How can Smart Spaces transform your business?
The technology frustrations we hear about, hands down, ease of use.
We take that complexity out of it and keep it down to the bare minimum of what they need and what they use.
Our goal is to lend a level of simplicity that any knowledge level can walk into that room and at a glance know exactly how to turn that room on and utilize all of its features.
Let Smart Spaces transform your business today. Visit smartspaceswi.com.
Kevin Moret here for Mentality Men's Health. Guys, did you know that the stored belly fat reduces your free testosterone? The more the belly grows, the harder it is to drop, mostly because of the decrease in free T. It's a vicious cycle that men are losing, and unfortunately, everyone can see it. Mentality breaks that cycle with semaglutide, an industry-changing weight loss medication that can help you lose up to 15% of your body weight while preserving your testosterone. Join our over 20,000 clients to look and feel the way you deserve. In Milwaukee, go to lowtusa.com. That's lowtusa.com.
When the game goes into overtime. But the game goes into overtime. The choice to enjoy is easy. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Pick up Bud Light at your local convenience store today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
It's a city from a fairy tale on the Mediterranean Sea.
Netanya, the city of diamonds.
And in this city of diamonds lived a crazy genius named Moses Hadara.
Moses was a mathematician,
a diamond cutter,
and a bit of a theoretical physicist.
Albert Einstein devised a formula, E equals MC squared.
Albert's formula unleashed the power locked inside an atom.
Moses' formula unleashed the power locked inside a diamond.
Moses began with star facets,
kite facets,
upper girdle facets,
lower girdle facets,
and pavilion facets.
But then a voice told him to add 24 new facets, the Moses facets.
When he cut the final one,
Shazam!
Moses unleashed an explosion of light.
That dazzling diamond is known today as the Kessler 81.
See it for yourself.
See it for yourself.
See it for yourself.
At Kessler's.
To find the Kesslers nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Homer and Tony are heading to the big backyard at Maddie's Bar and Grill Friday, August 11th for an outdoor happy hour. Join us from 2 to 4 for a chance to win free Bloody Marys for a year and enjoy complimentary Maddie's exclusive craft beer collaboration with Eagle Park Brewery, perfectly named Hospitality IPA. You heard that right, free beer from 2 to 4. Stick around for your favorite fish fry and the baseball game on the 18-foot LED screen. Like Maddie's Bar and Grill on Facebook for details and find them on the web at maddysbar.com.
You're listening to Scalzo and Brust on 94.5 ESPN. Missed any of the show? Find us on Wisconsin On Demand wherever you get your podcasts. It's free, it's everywhere, and it's for you.
Across ESPN Wisconsin, no Ben Brust, Greg Scalzo, Brad Nortman, your cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs we believe in better. Josh DiMaggio running the show alongside Ryan Wollersheim. On Twitter at Scalzo and Brust, we have the poll question posted. Do you view the Packers' adherence to the draft and develop philosophy as a positive or negative? 76% of the family says it's a positive. 24% says it's a negative. Aaron Picard, Josh, he has an issue with the way that you worded this, says adherence is overstating.
Yeah, I don't think I can think of a team in the NFL that adheres to that draft and develop philosophy more than the Green Bay Packers. You can count the amount of free agents that are more than just a guy they picked off from a practice squad on like one hand. Like if Reggie White is still one of the guys that comes to mind.
Well, you always got to mention Reggie White. I mean, that's just
it's also
naturally.
because it's Reggie White, Charles Woodson, and then the recent crop that half of them are still on the team.
I mean, there's a few more than that, but they tend to either be like aging veterans, like a Julius Peppers or a Jimmy Graham, or right off of the scrap heap, like Devondre Campbell and Rasul Douglas both worked out. Jonathan Owens they brought in, who could have an impact on the season, but yes, they don't usually go and try to sign starter level players heading into their prime.
Yes, a fill type of mentality. It's like we need to fill the gaps, and who can we get on a value to do it? They're value investors, if you will. They're not going to go out and do it. But what I think it does, it breeds consistency and balance. I mean, very rarely are the Packers trash. I mean, yes, a lot of that is having Hall of Fame quarterbacks tossing the rock, so for sure. But generally speaking, it's usually very even as far as talent distribution. It just gives them more opportunities to win the division, make a Super Bowl run. It might be the reason why Favre and Rodgers only have one each, because maybe they didn't go all in enough, and being willing to take maybe 2 or 3 years of really bad Packers for maybe a 2-year window, right? I mean, maybe they tried to be too consistent, and how many times you can get to an NFC Championship game and not take it all the way. Well, in the idea of let's just keep being really good and keep having our opportunities.
Yeah, I mean that's the push and pull, right? When we talk about it with a lot of teams in Wisconsin, the Brewers with the bites at the apple, and hey, you want to get into the dance. You can't make a championship game if you're not in the playoffs. So let's aim to get to the playoffs and do it as often as possible. But I do think it does leave you with a what if, and that was highlighted as we were talking earlier about Jordan Love. If you were to become a Jimmy Garoppolo type player, a Jimmy G type player, would you be satisfied? And Justin from Milwaukee says we have to take into the context of what we possibly gave up, though. Jordan has to be better than Jimmy G because we gave up a shot at going all in for a Super Bowl. That point matters. And I think that there's a valid point there that Aaron Rodgers would certainly back up. And I think probably his bigger frustration from that 2020 NFL draft wasn't that they drafted his replacement as much as it was another feeling of you guys still aren't drafting or getting anybody to help me. I have a feeling if they were to bring in more talent for him in the short term and draft his replacement, it would have been an easier pill to swallow. But instead, they trade up, they draft Jordan Love, and it hasn't, especially in the last 3 years when you had 2 MVP seasons from Aaron Rodgers, and never felt like they pressed their hands on the scale a little bit more and said, you know what, let's get in on this.
And for Aaron Rodgers especially, right? I mean, he's a guy that is very perceptive. He's very process heavy. And at some point, it's like, okay, I'm going to stop listening to what you're telling me, and I'm going to start looking at what you're doing. And what you're doing is pointing toward the future, drafting my replacement, not going all in today, when even at that point, he would probably tell you, I have a short window to do this. I am one of the best, and we have the ingredients. We just need a little bit more. And they didn't do that. And honestly, I can't blame him. I can't blame him for taking that, kind of rebellious Rodgers stance where he's grew his hair out and he's wearing, like the Office t-shirts and he's dressing up as Nicolas Cage walking to camp. I mean, I just think something in him just kind of flipped, and he's still going to be elite. He's still going to be great. He was obviously incredible in those MVP years, but I think there's a part of him and a love that he had for not Green Bay, the town or the fans or his teammates, but just an inability to be all in because there was so much anger. And I can get it. I totally get it.
Yeah, I think there's anger at Goody for that. I think there's a lack of trust, and I do think that draft and develop is great when you're 25, 26-year-old Aaron Rodgers, 27-year-old Aaron Rodgers, 28-year-old Aaron Rodgers. At some point, you're looking around and saying, okay, well, like the Eagles are a draft and develop team. They still go out and make trades and sign guys. Like they still go ahead and bolster. Most teams, when they get close enough, are willing to take a few more chances. This Packers franchise and organization is very risk averse in that sense. Now, they just took a huge risk in terms of moving on from Aaron Rodgers and putting in Jordan Love, but on a year in and year out basis, there's not a lot of risks they're willing to take in terms of, hey, you know what? We're going to be willing to give up a third-round pick for this guy. Let's see how he meshes in. I remember when, Marshawn Lynch was getting forced out of Buffalo, or he was forcing his way out of Buffalo, whatever you want to believe. And Aaron was publicly stumping for Marshawn Lynch, his teammate in college, and saying, you got to bring Marshawn here. You got to bring Marshawn here. And the Packers just were never going to do it. We can name 50 examples like that. As recent as DeAndre Hopkins and Odell Beckham Jr., where there was guys who it felt like could maybe just give them that extra little push and that extra little play that can be the difference in an NFL game, and they never felt like they were willing to do.
Well, and the Packers are one of the most traditional franchises, both like in literal tradition, right? Like the expanse of the Packers tradition. And if you take it to today, the way that they run business. And I do believe that, man, inside an NFL organization, there's a push and pull for power. There really is. Now, for 31 NFL teams, the power ends with the owner, right? The owner has final say over everything. Packers, there's no owner. I feel like there's always a bit of a jostling for who's the most powerful guy in the room. And for a lot of Favre and Rodgers' time, whether the CEO or the head coach or the GM wants it or not, those guys are the most powerful and the most beloved. And I feel like there's just a bit of resentment for that. And how that manifests is just more, you know what? We're going to stick to our plan. We're not going to listen to the franchise quarterback because we've got a system and we have a way. And darn it, we make the final call. And I do believe there's kind of a weird jostling for power always in the Packer organization because of that void of an owner.
Well, as Peter King said, I think as most people believe, that's not going to change anytime soon. I think even if Jordan Love becomes a Pro Bowl, elite, top 5 quarterback, I don't think they're going to change the way that they do things. I think it's going to be, hey, Romeo, Christian, Musgrave, Love, these are the guys, and there's probably only going to be 2 of those 3 weapons that gets brought back on the contracts that they're going to command if they end up being as good as many Packers fans hope they are.
That's right. And the way they're approaching it is, this has had success for us in the past. We trust our ability to be able to evaluate talent, draft them, develop them, and put them in a situation where they can be successful. And you can't necessarily argue with the success over the last 30 years, but I do think that you have to embrace a little bit of discomfort, right? Be willing to go out. The culture's set. I don't know if they're worried about the culture being disrupted or what if you bring in some high-flying free agent, but there's a place for it in today's NFL. It's so mobile, right? Players are working their way out of deals and contracts and forcing trades. I mean, the NFL changes over time. You do have to change a little bit with it.
800-990-ESPN, 800-990-3776. We'll see how much the Packers end up changing in that world. Aaron Rodgers certainly feels like he's changed in terms of how he approached last season in Green Bay and how he's approaching this season with the New York Jets. I do want to ask you about, Have you played with a character like we're seeing out of Aaron Rodgers? I mean, the character turn that Aaron Rodgers has made the last 5 years or so has been really interesting. I think for a while, he was always sort of a unique personality in the NFL, super open back in the Tuesdays with Aaron days that Jason Wilde would have him on. But I don't think until the last 5 years or so, we've really sort of seen, and he hasn't, kind of blossomed into, a new place in his life, a new chapter in his life. But have you been around, played with a guy like that commands the room and is that unique of a personality?
No, not that unique. It's a strange combination of elite talent and unfiltered voice and just a different way of seeing the world, and the ingredients of all that together makes Aaron Rodgers, and you either love him or you hate him, and he's going to tell you how he feels. And I mean, there are guys that you'd consider to be more free spirits. I think that the game of football in itself lends itself to a kind of personality, more team-oriented, more willing to be the team guy, say the team thing, not put self above team. It's almost not a shame because we were able to witness greatness for a long time, but Rodgers would have been great at a single sport, right? If he was a golfer or a tennis player and all he had to do was rely on his greatness, and he just seems more singular, more solitary. Now he gets great relationships with his teammates. I totally get that, but there's something about him that just seems like it doesn't fit the football mold. He's not Tom Brady. He's not Peyton Manning. He's not these guys. He's not Drew Brees. Kind of the cohort of his era, which are like, absolutely going to say the campaign line. I'm going to support my guys. I'm not going to go outside and create waves. He's just more of a free spirit. And those free spirits mostly come out in like cornerbacks, receivers, just being outlandish and not caring when anybody thinks about what they say. The quarterback's held to a little bit different a standard. I mean, Steve Smith would tell you how he feels. Jalen Ramsey would tell you how he feels. I mean, there's some stories of those guys. But even in the media, they would cultivate their kind of outlandish personality. But it was within the boundaries of what the team wanted them to do, usually. So maybe Steve Smith would be the only one who's willing to say whatever he wants to, and I'm not taking it back.
Did you play with Cam Newton?
Yes, I did.
He seems to be sort of that ilk. I know he's a team guy, I guess you could say, but his Instagram posts are very interesting. Just kind of the way he dresses, so flamboyant. Like, he seems to be an interesting. Do you get that vibe from him at all, or was he more? Well,
with Cam, how do I say this? I get a little bit of those vibes. Cam to me just feels like he has it's going to sound bad, but like a boyish mentality, right? Where it's like, if he's ever outlandish or does something silly, whether it be a celebration or an outfit, it feels very lighthearted. Maybe that's a good way to put it. Where I don't think there's much beyond like just enjoying himself. I don't think there's ever an ulterior motive, which I think we think all the time with Aaron Rodgers. Like, what are you actually saying? Cam, to me, is what you see is what you get. It makes him a really fun teammate because he's energetic, he's fun, he's supportive, and he brings that like boyish mentality to the game. Now, there are times when maybe you'd like him to maybe not hang out in the negative valleys of the roller coaster ride that is the NFL and all that. But Cam, he was well supported in our locker room for a good reason. People liked him a lot, and I think he thrives in an environment where he can just be himself. And that's not necessarily like a follow me Tom Brady leader, just more of like, I can be one of the guys and just let me be an incredible athlete.
I'm sure I speak for many. I'm very, very excited to see what Jordan Love's personality and character ultimately is. It takes a while, right, for guys to feel confident enough to show you. But on the eve of the Jordan Love era starting in Cincinnati, I'm excited to sort of see who he is and what he's all about. We'll keep talking about that next. It's Scalzo and Brust, presented by Bud Light.
You're listening to Scalzo and Brust, presented by Bud Light.
Wait, I don't want this to turn on to me completely, because Greg did get scammed by the internet, but I did scam Josh DiMaggio today.
Yeah, I mean,
you scam everybody every day. That's why you are unscammable, because you are constantly the scammer. I am the scammed.
I know where to look. If there's a scam, I'll know. And Greg, you believe in people too much, I guess.
Subscribe and listen to full show podcasts available free on Apple, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Greg Scalzo here for 3 Tree Marketing, a full-service branded merchandise agency using creative merchandising to share your company's story. And they were out in full force on Tuesday at the ESPN Milwaukee golf outing at the Bog. 3 Tree helping put together some fantastic items on behalf of our partners for our fans, connecting those brands with the people who will appreciate them in unique ways. That's what 3 Tree does for you, and they do it from A to Z, from ideation to execution, all the way to the logistics behind it all. Check out 3treemarketing.com.
Life's better with a home policy from American Family Insurance because you'll feel protected no matter how the wind blows. All so you can keep enjoying the home of your dreams. And our expert agents can help you save up to 23% when you bundle home with auto. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. American Family Insurance. Get a quote? Find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Brookfield GMC has document imaging technology from James Imaging Systems, all bundled under the James Managed Print Services Program. Brookfield GMC Controller Jay Doyle.
They can track where the printer supplies are, the toner supply is getting down or low, and then they'll ship us a new toner.
And there's more. James Imaging Systems Managed Print Services also includes parts and service.
Exactly, yes. We had a fuser go out in one of our printers, and they came out and replaced that right away. So repair and our supplies are maintained.
Managed Print Services from James Imaging Systems. All your document output devices, service, supplies, and parts wrapped up in one low monthly invoice. Now that's a good value.
It's a big value because of all the services.
Managed Print Services from James Imaging Systems. Call 262-781-7700. James Imaging Systems, your local office technology partner.
An ESPN Radio Extra Point with Amber Wilson.
Justin Fields, make or break?
I do not think so, because I think he showed enough last season to take that edge off. I think that Fields, personally, I think he's on the verge of a breakout season, so I think this will be a moot point. But if he struggles a little bit, I don't think it'll be so much of an issue, because especially if he struggles a little bit with his arm, his legs are so electric that I expect him to just keep getting better as a player.
I think that it could be if he comes out and falls on his face. I do think maybe there's something to the fact that, Ryan Poles didn't draft and neither did Matt Eberflus, right? It's been a big turnover there since the time that Justin Fields was drafted. I don't think it's going to turn out to be a make or break season, because I think that Fields has a lot of promise. I also think that the Bears showed some commitment to believing that Fields is the guy moving forward, or they would not have traded away that number 1 overall pick.
Hey y'all, my name is Sierra, and a little thing that I love about the Chick-fil-A Spicy Chicken Biscuit is that it has the perfect amount of spice to jumpstart my day. Whoever thought of it, thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Robert, and a little thing I love about Chick-fil-A Spicy Chicken Biscuit is the biscuit. It reminds me of my grandma's homemade biscuit. It's always buttery and savory. Then you add the spices, instant classic.
Order the Spicy Chicken Biscuit on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real Chick-fil-A guests paid for their testimonials.
If this were a Reese's TV ad, you'd be staring at a Reese's peanut butter cup. And sure, my voice is peanut buttery smooth, but still, you need to see the peanut butter cups, right? No? I can really just say Reese's and you'll go get some? Okay, Reese's. 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 Really working, actually. Reese's. Reese's. I'm on to something. Reese's. Reese's. Reese's.
You're listening to Scalzo and Brust on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Bud Light, the official beer of the NFL.
Scalzo and Brust, presented by Bud Light across ESPN Wisconsin. I want to give a shout out to Gene Adell and the team at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. You want to keep all the birds and the bees outside of your house. Well, the 250 series from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin include exclusive hidden screens, which can stay inside the window while you're not using it. And if you bundle and save, 250 series patio door and 8 double hung windows with exclusive hidden screens, you can pay as low as $188 per month. Now that's a good deal. Check out all of the innovative opportunities at PellaWI.com/radio. That's PellaWI.com/radio, or stop by their Experience Center in Brookfield or on the Beltline in Madison. We started the show talking about Ryan Wollersheim in his masterful performance on Tuesday, trying to fill some time on the air. We will end it with Ryan Wollersheim giving his top 5 people to blame for the fact that he had to fill the first 90 seconds of Wilde and Tausch, something he did in disastrous fashion on Tuesday. Ryan?
All right, so I don't have nearly as much time as I did on Wilde and Tausch Tuesday morning, but first off the top, I have to blame Jesse Nelson. First, for skipping out and producing his own show, and also for clearing me to ever speak on air. Second, I'll blame whatever on-site teammates from ESPN Milwaukee who forgot to apparently pack Jason and Brad's headsets on Tuesday morning. After that, I'll go with the original creator of remote radio broadcasts. That's for all the producers who've ever been left out to dry by poor remote connections. Fourth, I have to blame the journalism professors who encouraged me to pursue my dream career in sports radio. And lastly, I would blame myself for forgetting my own name on the day after my 24th birthday.
Hey, happy belated birthday, Wally. Well done by you.
Thank you, Greg.
Well done by you. Not as personal and biting as I was hoping it would be on Jesse Nelson and the people who forgot it, but that is still a great job. Brad, pleasure today. We'll have you back tomorrow here on Scalzo and Brust. Coming up next, we've got Joe and Amber across ESPN Wisconsin.
Disabled vehicle is blocking the right lane. That's at the ramp from Good Hope Road. Looking at your travel times there, from northbound from downtown to Brown Deer, that's 24 minutes. Southbound from Brown Deer to downtown is 39 minutes. Over on 94, if you're traveling eastbound from Highway 16 to the zoo, that's 13 minutes. From the zoo to downtown is 12 minutes. And 94 westbound from downtown to the zoo is 8 minutes. And from the zoo to Highway 16, that's 14 minutes. Travel times around the zoo interchange on 41 and 45 are looking pretty